the video. Share the videos out on social media. The reason we ask that is it helps us build the channel, but also if you enjoy the content, people that you know on social media, they will as well. So bring in college football fans to check out our coverage of everyone, including, of course, Texas A&M. So the name Jones shows up at cornerback quite a few times. You got Jalen, you got Miles, and they seem to start out the lineup there.
Yeah, those two guys being back at corner, it kind of solidifies that group. And when you look at Jalen Jones, he was kind of thrown right into the fire last year, and I thought he got better and better as the year went along. Long, athletic, went through some growing pains. It's obviously not easy when right out of the gate, your second game of the year, you have to go play Alabama and try to guard guys like Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle and John Mechie and all those guys. That's a really tall ask right out of the gates. But he really grew as the year went along. And Miles Jones is another guy, as a leader of that secondary, can play all over the place. He can play inside a little bit. He can play on the outside. Has seen time at safety as well. And so you've kind of got your two guys locked down there. And big to have both those guys back.
So anybody else factor in at cornerback?
Yeah.
Before we move on to safety? A
couple other guys I'd mentioned. Brian George kind of got his opportunity at cornerback last year as well. And, he was tested a little bit against Auburn. I think Miles Jones was out that game. And so Brian George was really tested. And two other younger guys that have come in and really impressed already are Tyreek Chappelle and Deuce Harmon. And so both bring the big thing that A&M's been trying to get better at is speed. And both those guys bring speed for days and, really technically sound and I think have a chance to contribute maybe a little bit in their first years as well.
Moving to safety, the two starters back. Leon O'Neal Jr. led the team with 2 picks, and you also have Damani Richardson back there.
Yeah, so you have Damani Richardson, you have Leon O'Neal. I think that's a rock solid group to start with, and then you have Antonio Johnson and Keldrick Carper too to kind of give you a 4-man rotation at that spot. And we talked earlier about versatility. And Antonio Johnson, I think, is a guy that I can't wait to see this year because he moved all over the field last year. He played a little bit of slot corner. He played a little bit of nickel. And I can't wait to see him in action because to come in and play as a freshman in the SEC is not easy to do. And so with another year under his belt, he was rated as one of the top players in his class coming out. And to come in and contribute right away, I think leaves that safety spot in a really, really good place. And then looking at starting with Leon O'Neal, I thought he took a huge step forward last year. He's a guy that my coworker Jeff Tarpley just wrote a story on it yesterday, has become more of a complete player, and he understands the game a lot more now than he did a couple of years ago, and he's playing more under control. He's one of those guys that wants to make plays so badly that sometimes you have to keep yourself in check. And for him, that's been the biggest thing is he's kind of grown into his role. And credit to him because it hasn't always been easy, but he's really gotten a lot better and kind of become a vocal leader of the secondary. And then Damani Richardson is interesting because last year I don't think he had the year he was quite hoping to have coming off a really good first year. And so really interested to see, when he battled some injuries, he was in a COVID protocol for a game too. And really interested to see how he looks coming into his third year because when healthy and locked in, he's an absolute weapon to have in the secondary. And, he forces turnovers, which will be helpful with this offense this year.
Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. We got Andrew Hattersley on the line breaking down the Texas A&M defense, and you mentioned O'Neal. We went through the safety position, third on the team in tackles with 48, and pretty impressively, Miles Jones from a corner spot, fourth on the team in tackles.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that, when you talk about stopping the run, it's a group effort, and Miles Jones gets stuck in there and gets involved in the running game and makes plays in the backfield. And so, yeah, to do what he did as a corner is pretty impressive.
Texas A&M needed a late kick to beat Florida. Seth Small came through there, and he's been the kicker the last 2 years, 29 of 36. And your punter's back as well, so the specialists return.
Yeah, the specialists return, and a guy I'm really interested to see how they're going to use him this year is Caden Davis as well. He showed during the spring game he had quite the leg. And so, with whether it's on kickoffs, I expect him to factor in as well. But Seth Small is a reliable guy, veteran. He's been in, obviously, those big moments before. And then Nick Constantino, really consistency. He had big shoes to fill with taking over at the punter spot based on what they had before. And I thought he did a really good job.
And it's always a bit of a mystery at times to figure out who's going to return punts and kickoffs, and they usually sort that out during August. But Ananias Smith was the guy in the punt return game with 15 last year. Yeah,
get ready to see more of that. The jersey swap, I don't know if you saw that last year when he since they have Miles Jones and they have Ananias Smith that both wear 0 on the punt unit, he usually has to pull a quick switch on the sidelines before he goes back out on offense. So that was always, I think, College Game Day did a story on that as well, and so that's always been a fun little topic to follow. But yeah, he's he does a little bit of everything and brings that home run hitting ability. We'll see. I'm sure he's going to be back there quite a bit this year, and they have some other guys too that can Chase Lane's been back there before, and they have some other guys as well that can fit there.
Andrew, you always do a great job, but we really put you to work today. Andrew's broken down the offense, the defense, recruiting updates. My goodness.
I appreciate you having me. Yeah, no, that was fun to kind of ran through the whole roster. It's fun to think that fall camp's less than a month away now, and I think there's a person on our board that has a countdown going, and today I saw we're at 28 days, I believe. So only 4 weeks away, and we'll be ready to go.
Well, it definitely seems like once we go to SEC Media Days that it goes right into camp from there. So we're pretty much there just in the next several days with SEC Media Days.
The SEC Media Days next week or 2 weeks from now, actually. And so it'll be a lot of fun.
Andrew, we always appreciate it, and certainly we'll be tracking you down soon, I'm sure.
Yep, appreciate you having me.